Well, last night, Iran fired more than a dozen ballistic missiles at two Iraqi military bases housing U.S. military and coalition forces. Iran says it's in revenge for the U.S. airstrikes that killed top General Qasem Soleimani.
Now, according to the U.S. Department of Defense, it was the Al-Assad Air Base and the Erbil Air Base who were hit. And first and foremost, I think the most important thing is, as of right now, both the U.S. and Iraq say no deaths and injuries. We'll struggle and wait to see if that changes. But joining us right now to start unpacking what all this means and where we go forward, our international relations expert, Yvonne Davis. Good to see you again.
Good to see you, too.
I know you called in from Dallas.
Not under these circumstances, though.
Yes, exactly. Okay, first things first. There are some indications we've seen that this might be it for now as far as retaliation, which could be a pathway for both sides to save face. Does that seem reasonable?
Well, Foreign Minister Zarif had indicated in his statement that they had answered the retaliatory call on behalf of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Yeah. So at the moment, it is quiet. The fact that the president last night or Department of Defense did not respond or retaliate and didn't speak last night, we need to see what the president will say this morning, which is scheduled, I believe, in a couple hours. But at the moment, it is quiet. But certainly what we expected, we said it on the show last week, that there would be a response to the killing of Soleimani.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's take a look at some of the responses that we've seen so far. The response after the Iranian missile attack has been from the EU ambassador here. Iran is violating Iraqi sovereignty by launching airstrikes tonight after Iraq complained about breach of its sovereignty on 3 January by U.S. Iraq does not deserve to be victim by proxy war. Also, we have a reaction from the foreign minister of Iran. Iran took and concluded proportionate measures in self-defense under Article 51 of UN Charter, targeting base from which cowardly armed attack against our citizens and senior officials were launched. We do not seek escalation of war, but will defend ourselves against any aggression. And you think that supports what you were saying as far as we're done for now?
For now. And I think in the EU and in our allies, they'd like to see this really dial way down, including the United Nations. But President Bush... I used to work on behalf of the president. Right. President Trump is the type of president that will respond. Yes. If you hit, he's going to hit harder.
Yes.
And he's made that pretty clear as the president. And at this point, when he said all is well, if you try to interpret Trump speak, that meant at the moment we're not going to do anything. Yeah. But we need to wait and see. So we're hopeful. This is not a war we want to get into. Iran, if we were to enter into a full-fledged war, this would be one of the most deadliest wars, worse than Iraq. Yeah. Worse than Afghanistan you could ever imagine. But they have spent a lot of time developing their missile defense system since the 1980s, and they have the most multifaceted defense system in the Middle East, and they have capability to execute it. And that's what's key.
I don't want to pull out a scorecard here. I think we do that too much in discussing very sensitive topics. But if this turns out to be all there is and things die down after this, I would have to think the president is pretty happy with how this turned out, that he was able to eliminate a target he had his sights set on. And right now, there appears to be no U.S. loss of life or coalition.
Well, that is most important for us in terms of our U.S. loss of life or interest in that regard. The key now is what do you do after that, even if it's dialed way down. You have a country of which we have been a strategic ally since we had the war with Iraq. This is a country we do not want to be destabilized. And right now, they are in between loyalties as mostly a Shiite nation, to loyalties to the U.S., and they're not sure what to do. And that's why I had said initially that if there was an attack, it would probably happen in Iraq first. And it creates confusion for that country right now.
Yeah.
Oh, we did get a response. The president tweeted last night. He said, all is well. We're going to hopefully pop that up. Yeah. Missiles launched from Iran at 2 military bases located in Iraq. Assessment of casualties and damages taking place now. So far, so good. We have the most powerful and well-equipped military anywhere in the world by far. So
that's true.
Yes.
You look at the MQ drone, Reaper drone that took out Soleimani. It is the most powerful drone in the United States and in the world. And if you look at, we are prepared with B-52 bombers. I mean, technically, we could take out their installations in no time if we were to enter into that. But that would not be wise. We need to be strategically patient and look to see how we can get some talks at the table to at least dial it way down. But at the moment, the emotions still run high, and the important thing is to protect our interests and the interests of Americans that are abroad in the Middle East. I see that they stopped flights from flying over the Gulf. I've flown over at least 4 Gulf countries, and so I wouldn't be taking a trip to Dubai anytime soon.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yes.
Says Yvonne, our travel agent.
Yes.
And by the way, you're going to be with us all morning.
Yes,
and
I'll
we
be with
really
you all
appreciate
morning.
it because there's a lot more we want to talk about going forward, including what other types of retaliation Iran might be capable of and has done in the past. We also need to talk a lot about what sort of position Iraq is in, stuck in the middle between
and
of all this
the
too.
Iraqi people.
Yes.
Yeah, we will talk a lot more about that.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
All right. And,
Yvonne, thanks so much. We'll see you in just a little while.
Thank you.
And you can expect continuing coverage on the rising tensions in the Middle East. So stay with us here on Fox 61, on air, online, and on our Fox 60.